I'd like to ask you a couple questions about Steven Stucker and this wild Johnny character who just he thrilled everyone when we watched it. When I watched it when the movie first came out, and I was, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old. Just so wacky and non sequitur-ish, if that's a word. Where you guys knew him from previous work, right?
Well, when we left Madison, we had a piano player, but he didn't, and we loved this guy, but he was very talented and funny, but he didn't want to come out with us. So we had to audition other piano players. And one of the people who just happened to show up for an audition was Steven Stucker, and he cracked us up, and he was an amazing piano player. But not like us at all. I mean, he was compared to us, we were these guys from the Midwest, and Steven was dropped in from outer space, and it was the perfect. And I mean, I thought, oh no, this will never work. I mean, when I first saw him, but in fact, he just was such a gift. He was great. And then we knew we had to write a part for him in Airplane.
Yeah.
Steven was the first. I was 25 or 26 at the time, so when we met Steven, and he was the first outed gay man I'd ever met in my life.
And it was at a time when Jim was not out yet.
Well, no, that's in the postscript. When he came to audition, we were just these three kind of boring straight white guys from Milwaukee. And when he came to audition, he was wearing this black kind of shiny shirt with all sorts of unbuttoned to here with all this jewelry and short hot pants and stuff like. And we had never. And then he sat down at the piano, and he virtually made it levitate. He was just brilliant. Plus, he was, as you could see in the movie, ridiculously funny.
Yeah, and funny in a way that we were not, and we could not write for him. So when we called him up one day when we were writing Airplane, and we gave him the straight lines, and he came up with his own lines, like, during his press conference, what kind of a plane is it? And he just said exactly what's in the movie over the phone. He said, it's a pretty white plane with red stripes. It looks like a big Tylenol. So that's what we did.
He's such a unique personality and a comic that only Steve really could write for Steve. I mean, we would try to write something, and they were kind of mildly funny, and then we call Steve, and he'd just crack us up.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Leon is getting larger came from something he used to do, I guess, around the set.
In the show. He was, in the Kentucky Fried Theater and show, and a lot of these things he just did. He didn't say, how about this? Or we write it in. He just did it, and it got a huge laugh, and then we left it in.
Unbelievable. And something else I recall that the three of you didn't write was the jive talk sequence where the ultimate mother comes over to them, or grandmother comes over to them, and they have jive, and you described it as just writing a whole bunch of sounds, and it turns out the two actors put that part of the script together.
Yeah, I think in the script it just said mofo shumufa, and we just kind of apologized to be, the actors would come in, but Norm Gibbs and Al White, I don't know, were this probably the second or third people that come in, and they didn't even know each other, but the casting directors would pair actors and have them come in. And out in the lobby while they were waiting, they said, well, let's write some stuff, and they figured something out, and they came in, and it was perfect.
Yeah. And then they turned around and taught June Cleaver how to speak too.
That's right. Yeah.
They were great. And she was very appreciative, because
we got the idea for writing those parts when we saw a 1975 melodrama or cop drama blaxploitation picture called Shaft, starring, what was the name?
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah, Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
came out of the theater and we thought, well, it's a pretty good story, but we didn't understand half the dialogue. So,
And then one of us must have said they should have put subtitles. I mean, as a joke. And that's how, then we said, well, we'll do that in the airplane script.
And so with the movie overall, it seems to me, and I'm no expert, but the pace and the overlapping nature of the jokes, that if you watch a Mel Brooks movie, there's a build up and a joke and a build up and a joke. And you guys had jokes coming from every direction on the screen. Was that something new for, at least for comedy movies?
Yeah, it was definitely new for comedy movies at the time. And but that came out of our live stage experience. We had been, performing on stage for 5 years, and we weren't great actors. So, I mean, we could do our own material, but we hated to be on stage when there was silence. So we just kept the pace going because it was much better to just keep the audience laughing than to start them up. So we trimmed everything that wasn't either a setup to a joke or the punchline.
Although I will say in earlier drafts of Airplane, we had much too much control room talk, because we loved that stuff, when they were talking tough. And then at some point, someone pointed out that we don't need all this stuff.
Right.
Well, I think we kind of learned from the experience of doing Kentucky Fried Movie that, where we had there was too much, well, maybe Fluker dialogue. And we had to trim all that stuff. And then when we went back to the airplane script, we said, well, we don't want to go through this problem again. So we trimmed more.
Yeah.
And now, before we get back to the airplane book and the film, and this question is for David and Jim, do either of you, and I understand you've each been through a divorce, do you have, I asked this question of a lot of people, do you have any movies you would recommend to someone going through divorce that would either lift them out of the nonsense they're wrapped up in, or is it better to send them to a sad movie so they can have some sort of cathartic effect?
I'd always probably recommend, that movie Midway with Charlton Heston, because I spent so much time. I've watched that movie over and over again, trying to figure out, which carrier launched which planes and everything, that it took my mind off of whatever problem I was going through.
I would absolutely recommend Godfather, just because it's a perfect movie for any circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Better to take your mind off it than
Yeah.
to try to watch some film about it.
You don't know about this.
Well, no, but I
You-
can still
yeah.
get it.
You maybe had some disagreements or something, or
No, perfect.
no, nothing. But
Never
the one time
never
when
got angry.
that iron frying pan she threw at you once, was that not a?
Just a rumor. It was.
Oh, it's just a rumor.
Not
Okay.
an iron frying pan. It was aluminum.
Oh, okay.